live. Greetings, you've landed at the VUC, IP Communications and VoIP Community. We would like to thank Simwood.com for their support. Simwood can turn you as a developer into a telco. Our hosted PBX is from OnSIP.com. You can go to GetOnSIP.com for a URL people can click to call you. We've been privileged over the last 5 years to be using the best conference bridge on the planet. Yes, I'm talking about ZipDX.com, full color, full featured, full HD conference bridge. Our website, vuc.me on the webs, hosted by Bluehost.com. And our worldwide local rate dial-ins are from Voxbone.com. Greetings and welcome, VUC 536. Oh, Michael, it's 536. But we had a special VoIP-a-thon last week. Today we're going to be talking with Chris Wendt about Comcast Share, which is a new WebRTC app for Comcast subscribers and those who have, I believe it's called the X1. You're looking at Michael now because he has a really good quality video that says every last byte in back of his head. And I guess I can show myself to you just so you can see how complicated things are. You see my hands on the two keyboards and all of that. I want to introduce you to Chris. Chris Wendt. Welcome, Chris. It's great to be talking to you.
Thanks, Randy. Good to be here.
Let's hear a little bit about you. You're a musician like I am too, so let's hear how you transferred over to technology a little bit. Love to hear about a little bit of your personal background before we get into the planned subject.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've been interested. I guess I grew up. I was in high school in the '80s and got involved with like Herbie Hancock and that the Rocket era. Got me really interested in synthesizers and technology and bringing music and technology together, and so I started my life journey in college wanting to be an audio engineer and things like that, but sort of quickly led me to software and other things and getting involved with multimedia, and I actually in college worked for Commodore for a little while on the Amiga. I transitioned into sort of a sister company called Ensoniq, which built keyboards and synthesizers, and that led me when Ensoniq sort of shut its doors. Lucent Technologies, Bell Labs, was looking for a bunch of audio folks to build some audio solutions for PCs back then, and that got me involved with some MPEG-4 stuff. So I've done video coding, and eventually moved into the mobile space, and that sort of led me into the telecom space, and got involved with, when I joined Comcast, actually I became the lead architect of our IMS deployment, so a lot of SIP stuff going on there, and maybe 3 years ago or so got involved with WebRTC pretty early on, and that sort of leads us up to where we are today, at least for me personally.
Cool. Well, as Bill Maher would say, you haven't done much with your life. When obviously the opposite is true. That's interesting because as you and I were talking about, there's just a terrific straight relationship between programming and creativity and multimedia and all the rest and music. So we're all in the same club here. And ham radio, took a little wink of the eye over to James and company in London. Chris, we're here to talk about Comcast Share, and you and Michael will have to kind of direct the discussion because he has some stuff to share, some interesting views, and you have a screen we should mention. I'm going to go back to you so we can see it. You have a TV screen that's just to your right as far as we can see. It's actually the opposite, but right. And that thing is moving, so we'll see some action there and maybe see what Michael is going to show. First, you need, of course, to introduce actually what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
tell us how
Yeah.
it came about, the motivation
Right.
for it, especially.
Right.
Yeah, I can tell a pretty interesting story there. So, I'm sure most of you know that Comcast is a major service provider, cable service provider in the U.S. A few years back, we sort of, as a company strategy, got into instead of getting off-the-shelf set-top boxes from vendors, we actually created a group that was dedicated to building our own, at least the middleware and software for this project called X1. And it's gone. It's become quite successful. It's pretty much a Linux-based platform that supports a lot of the components. There's actually it's something that we've contributed to the industry. So the middleware is called RDK. There's a RDK Central if you're interested in taking a look at it. But it's an open platform that we put our own UI and guide and other things on. But the interesting component is it's got an embedded browser as well. And so we were taking a look at WebRTC as sort of a standard. So we're also very involved actually in IETF and open standards and things like that. So WebRTC just seemed like a natural thing to latch onto a little bit. And the TV being a good interface for, a potential good interface for displaying video and interactive content, it just seemed like it made a lot of sense to try to support it. So, like any embedded platform, there's challenges in getting it working, but we've done a lot of hard work to integrate WebRTC into the embedded browser. And just a few weeks ago, we did a soft launch of it. We actually call it WebRTC Share. It's basically a pretty interesting service where you can do things like share photos, share pre-recorded videos, and you can also open a live stream to television from a mobile device. And which is also sort of interesting because it almost, for some reason we didn't get as much notoriety, but Meerkat and Periscope are sort of apps that do very similar things. So that's a sort of interesting thing that happened. But it's pretty cool. I think people are getting a kick out of it. It's going to be probably the first of many different services we offer that are WebRTC based, but it's a good thing to get our feet wet to sort of test it out, to get some experience with the platform that we've built behind it. So basically we've incorporated a JavaScript SDK in the X1 box. We have some mobile SDKs, and then we have built a bunch of back-end systems to manage the streams and the signaling and user management and all that other stuff.
And we also, Michael has actually experienced this. He's loaded the app, and I don't know if this is a good time to start. We're going to do a demo. We're trying to do this. It's a pretty complicated setup, so if by any chance it doesn't work, it will, this will not be Comcast's fault.
Just a second. I'm going to switch, do a little headset switch here, and then
okay.
That, and we'll do.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, we hear me now. Now I'm cordless, and you're still seeing me, but the cordless thing is going to be useful in just a moment. So here we go. You're seeing me. That's not very nice. So there's an app, and for what it's worth, the app, there's an iOS app and there's an Android app. Mm-hmm. And being a Comcast customer, I was able to load the app. I have it on a Nexus 4 just now, which is on Wi-Fi, local to my house here. Now, I don't have an X1, being a big fan of TiVo, but there's an X1 over Chris's shoulder,
Yeah.
Right? And now, tell us a little bit about the X1. What is it? Where's it rolled out, and this sort of thing?
It's national now in the U.S. You can just sign up for it and get the box. It's basically, I think cable has been known for its funky 8-bit text interfaces for a while. This sort of really transforms it into a pretty beautiful experience, actually. It's got a lot of different functionality. We recently rolled out a pretty cool thing, which I actually use quite a lot, where you can press a button on one of our new remotes and do text-based search. It's got a lot of we have a big initiative to make X1 accessible for the deaf and blind communities. So it's really been a sort of platform that we've been focusing on from an innovation point of view. And I think people are really resonating with it. So, and WebRTC is just one of the capabilities that we've built in, but there's a lot more.
Cool. So what actually is happening is this app on my phone, Android app, has credentials issued against your X1. If I look at this, if you're seeing my video now, you're seeing the live view of the Android phone. You can pop up the app, and we were doing something else earlier, so I'm going to go back here. Share. And so on my phone, I loaded a few pictures. Now, hopefully it'll find them. And I have to pick a target. And I can pick home, which in my case is machine in your office, right?
Yeah, we just did that for good reasons.
Yeah, but I could also pick another Comcast customer, right? That's what
exactly. Like you can pick grandma, share it with grandma.
It's just past noon where you are, so this might be appropriate. Now I gotta title that.
So I can go in and into the Photos app, and I should be able to see all of your photos. Hopefully we can.
Okay, hang on. It said my interrupted. When you're doing both casting and doing this from the phone, of course you're taxing its Wi-Fi radio a bit. There we go.
It's probably uploading as we speak.
Yeah, it's uploaded now. It should be showing up shortly.
Oh, actually, okay, I got it here.
There you go. There's 1, 2. Let's see what else we got going on. There's a few pictures in there.
Yeah, let me back out. So I did get a pop-up notification. I was just sort of multitasking here.
Yeah. Oh, you can go through any of those ones we did earlier as well. There you go.
I got your margarita picture.
Yeah, that's the one I just uploaded. So, and it seemed to store. We had done this a little earlier, about an hour ago, and it seemed to be that now it has the 2 pictures that we did earlier, and then this one, which is it's kind of handy.
Yep.
But going back, maybe the more interesting one is to do a live stream. Now this is going to be weird. Invite you to a live stream. So I get a little display that says home has been invited.
So I just got a pop-up for that.
Right.
And then I join.
And for what it's worth, this is coming back to you over Comcast bandwidth. So.
It works anywhere. Actually, it works quite well on LTE as well. So hopefully you can see it on the TV there.
Yeah, okay. In fact, it's surprisingly good. It really is. We're obviously reproducing this over, it's being resampled. The video is being resampled, or whatever the correct term for that is,
okay,
and it's being scraped. So, go ahead, Mike.
Looking at stuff on my desk is ridiculously boring. You guys chat amongst yourselves, and I'm going to go park this someplace where it'll maybe see something more interesting, or not. I don't know. We'll see.
He's walking around with his phone. Okay, let's see if we can. Yeah, look at this. That actually looks very surprisingly good because of the distance of the TV screen that we're looking at. We're looking at Chris's view now. Look at this. Mike is walking around sharing his home. So okay. Grandma's visiting your home.
Wife's rose garden, like that. Fighting bugs week.
And I note in passing, home is watching.
Lose track of what I can see.
Michael in his garden.
There you go. So the phone is now parked kind of on the front porch, and I'll go back to my desk.
You know, he's not worried about anybody stealing it. Oops. Something happened.
Comcast got disconnected.
Uh-oh, and he doesn't hear. Well, yeah, he's wireless.
Oh, we still have the light.
I can hear you, but it may be the Wi-Fi that went away. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. How? Oh, it's just frozen probably. We don't know that.
Well, I think because his phone got disconnected.
Right. Right. But I mean, we're still seeing it because we're still seeing the last image.
But I still have your live stream here. Yeah.
Yeah. I still have the live stream here. It's the phone and the Chromecast. It could be that the Wi-Fi didn't quite survive. That distance. So cool. But at very least, you can see that you can do some reasonable streaming stuff. I got to say, the NBC part of your organization needs to pay attention to this because they could backhaul user-generated live shots.
So we do actually have a little startup in NBC working on similar things. They're called StringWire. And if you want to check that out, you can go to, I think it's stringwire.com. And that's exactly the idea, that you upload video and from live events and things like that.
Now, about 5 years ago, I did a major project with another three-letter network that I won't mention off in San Francisco. And one of the things I was saying to them is because they were all iPhone aficionados in the art department where I was working there, was saying, you wait, you'll be, I was saying TwitPic, but you'll be getting, user-contributed content via Twitter and other things. It will be happening. This is how you'll be getting it. You won't be going to some graphics bank, AP Graphics Bank, and downloading stuff. You'll be getting stuff, from the Bay Bridge as the event is going on. Yeah. And but it's taken time. So.
It's taking time, but now we have a bunch of the tools. So hopefully, some of that stuff you'll start seeing in the future.
Excellent. So what's uptake like? Do we know?
How
long, for example, has the app been out?
So we haven't done any advertisements yet, but actually uptake has been pretty good. It's been growing, and people seem to be finding it and playing around with it. And we saw a lot of people doing some stuff over Easter, and so it's good. But again, this is sort of like the first version. It's only soft launched. I think we'll officially launch it maybe in a few weeks or so, and there'll be a lot more capabilities to come.
So, Chris, when you're saying we're seeing people doing some stuff during Easter, what do you mean exactly?
I mean, trying to capture the Easter Bunny on video. Sharing.
No, actually, that sounds great. I wanted to, and I apologize because I have a huge lag here on my own, my local computer. So this was a joke, but I wanted to jump in because this really looks great. This is like going from the two opposite corners of the U.S., right? Because Michael, you're in Texas, right? And Chris is in Philadelphia. So looking from here, you're basically streaming the TV on Chris's TV. So that was really impressive. Just when you step back to think of it for a minute, Chris didn't have to do anything special. He didn't have to plug a USB key or anything. That was just his regular TV, and you were feeding it. And the quality was pretty good. So obviously there's a lot of technology in that, and there's the WebRTC stack. There's all the networks and everything. But when you pile that on top, when you pile these things on top of each other properly, you end up with some really amazing applications. And I'm sure that it's taken quite a lot of innovation for Comcast to actually run with that and start distributing it. So I'm sure this is going to end up being very popular.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And I'd like to also put in a little plug for Jitsi in that we're actually talking to ZipDX. Of course, the video demo wasn't really compelling on the audio server, but still, we're actually connected through Jitsi Video Bridge to the demo, which looked really good to me, and connected in audio ZipDX on the Jitsi as well, on the Jitsi SIP client communicator. And we still don't have any video from you, Emil, but good work on the communicator and the video bridge. So
no, my computer is totally dead right now. So.
Okay. Well, we still have your audio, which is good.
I'm surprised that you even hear me.
We can hear you, but I've got the.
Enough. I can see Emil, but only when I focus away from him. So I'm getting a little postage stamp image, but I'm not.
And that's Mr. James Bodie in London. James, any questions or comments?
About Comcast.
Well, about the WebRTC demo that we just saw, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm just interested. Did we say how that's being achieved? Is the system making use of the data channel to do the binary transfers? I'm guessing it probably is.
How much could you tell us about that, Chris?
I can.
If anything, I don't know.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about what we've built. I mean, for the video, it supports audio and video and uses normal audio and video media streams. So nothing on the data channel yet, but obviously we want to use that. So, but we built basically a service provider scale system for allowing users to authenticate themselves into the system and allocate media streams, and we're hoping to expand that. I can put a little plug in for Jitsi as well. We're hoping to expand that to incorporate some of those concepts around multi-party and everything else around that. Yeah, we've done quite a lot of work on getting that platform in place, and like I said, the client integration was quite a bit of work to get done as well. But so we're pretty proud of what we're even though it's a pretty simple use case, although I think actually pretty fun use case. Like it's even just for like kids to watch themselves on TV and things like that. There's a lot of people having a lot of fun with it, which is a great thing. It's all about entertainment anyways on your TV. So yeah.
Can we go back just for 1 second? If a grandma is a customer and has this X1 box, or whoever, whatever, a nephew, what I didn't see because I was running a bunch of different other things, Michael said you didn't have to do anything. That's probably not quite true. You must have had to click on or accept that connection. But there wasn't too much messing around, I take it.
Right. What happened was when Michael invited home, or the same thing happens to anybody else that has an X1 box, you get a little pop-up notification that slides in, and it says, do you want to join this live stream? And you click a button and confirm that you actually want to view the live stream, and then it starts the negotiation and displays the video.
Okay, so actually, grandma's maybe not the best example because a lot of people don't even know how to stop the video from blinking on and off at midnight. The image of the VCR. Speaking of which, is there any significance to the stopped clock above the TV? Because I can see that it hasn't been moving.
It's just an art piece that I've been collecting on my shelf.
It's not Dolly because it's round. Anyone else have any questions? We had Tim with us too, and I don't know if he wants to. Let's see, he's there. There he is.
Yeah.
Anything?
Hi. I'm curious to know how you feel about the. I mean, it's great to see WebRTC being used in an interesting and kind of rewarding way, but I'm curious to know how you feel about the fact that it's still an evolving standard. Does that kind of give you any nervous nights, or are you reasonably happy with the solidity of the standard so far and good enough to run with?
Yeah, I think it's mature enough that it's we obviously have control of the clients. So if we need to adapt things, we can. Obviously, some of the improvements that people are talking about in terms of multi-party or other new codecs or things like that, we want to incorporate, but we, for the most part, control the end-to-end ecosystem, so that lets us, I guess, be early adopters, even if the standards aren't totally complete yet.
Okay, cool. And I had one other question, which is around how you identify the endpoint. So, like, when I want to send a screen to grandma, or
a pet,
school or whatever, how do you? Yes, a pet, indeed. How do you select that? How's that? What naming do you use for that? What namespace are you using? I suppose is what I'm asking.
Namespace. I missed the first part, I guess.
So how do you, when Michael set up that TV as his home TV, how did he specify that device? Did he give it a geographic location? Was it your email address, or was it your phone number? Yeah. How is it tied together?
It works both with phone number and email address.
Okay.
Currently, it's the Comcast provided one, but we'll probably add support for others. And also, right now you basically the notification pops up on all of your X1 boxes in your house. So and whoever accepts the notification will get the call. And you'll see that expand to other devices as well.
Okay, cool. So kind of logical extension from the kind of phone number picture, but adding email as an option.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the phone number and email are two identities that we provide, and you can do all the things like import your contact thing, and we can as long as they're enabled and have X1 box currently, we can send them a share, and we'll hopefully expand that to include more people and more addresses and things in the future.
Okay, James has a question, and James, please go ahead.
Yeah, as usual, my big area of interest is how we interwork or federate with different businesses. So, have you got any plans to allow your devices to interwork using common standards with other bits and pieces, or even just simply run HTML5 applications so you can get into other third-party services?
Right. So the story on third-party integration is evolving a little bit. That will be one mechanism. Obviously, we're a browser. It has some specific things that any embedded platform might have in terms of capabilities. The federation piece is an interesting thing. We are actually trying to work on this. We're pretty tightly associated with Cable Labs, which is sort of the research and standards and specifications group for the cable industry, in defining ways of federating these types of applications beyond just phone calls and video calls. We're trying to put a lot of thoughts around that, and you might hear more about that from us in a little while. But we've been trying to adopt actually standard signaling. We are moving to XMPP as a mechanism for doing signaling. We're pretty excited about that and what that will provide us in terms of establishing multi-user sessions and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds promising. Something I'd be interested in doing is just using your boxes as an endpoint. We could send, if the user wants it, something like true phone traffic to the X1 box and just use it as an endpoint, and to be able to sense the presence of that endpoint, so we know when it's available to send traffic to. That would be very useful to us.
Right. Yeah, presence is an interesting thing to talk about. Like we've done a lot of thought about that, and we're thinking about that more in a context of a residential home user who has multiple people in their family, which can be a challenge for a shared device and what presence really means. But you know, there's
at home. I've got an Xbox One, and I don't know whether you use Xbox One or not, but Xbox One is rather clever in that it recognises who sits in front of it. So if I come and sit in front of the TV, it goes, "Oh, hello, James," and it loads my profile. When my wife comes and sits next to me, it goes, "Hello, Sophie," and loads her profile. So it knows who's sitting in front of the TV because it recognises our faces.
I just thought of something horrible, James. What if another woman that you had over as a guest when your wife was somewhere else? Never mind, we won't go there. There's a related question. I'm sorry I missed this. It was just before you, James. Guest 51606 would like to know, will this system be implemented as an app on smart TVs? And he says, or say as an Xbox Live app, which brings it back to your question, James. But Chris?
Right now we're focused on X1. So you know, expanding this, we don't have really a story for that yet.
Well, I can help you with that. All you have to do, Chris, is put the box in it, and you make your X1 into an Xbox. There you go.
Yeah, it's just look at some paint. We
do have some partnerships with Xbox and other things where you can get on-demand content and things like that. The WebRTC piece will probably take some time to expand out to some of these things as well. So.
Okay.
No. We do want to build an ecosystem at some point.
It's early days yet, though.
Exactly.
Carl Fife is not with us, I'm afraid, anywhere. I don't see him on the ZipDX bridge. So we're going to have a last call for questions. And Chris, if there's anything else you want to talk about or ask for feedback or whatever, we'd need to give some coordinates on that. Well, I guess before we even do that, where do people see? There must be a URL where people can see this at Comcast if they're subscribers and are interested, or something. I don't know. How is this coming out? Besides, okay, you go to the Play Store and look for that the name, which was
yes.
Look for Comcast Labs Share, and it'll come right up.
Comcast Labs Share. Okay, and that's same probably for the iTunes Store, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, and as long as you have a X1 box, and I think you're a Triple Play subscriber, you can enable it and put in your credentials and start playing with it.
It's really interesting. What a development. Yeah. So as I was saying, any final questions for anybody? From anybody? I'm watching IRC. I don't see much there. Somebody sounds like they're getting ready to speak. James, anything? You're three of you, so maybe you got three turns.
Yeah. Well, we're saving ourselves for the next little bit, actually.
Okay. Well, then what we're going to do is, Chris, unless you have anything further, we'll probably end this segment and move on. In order to do that, we're going to have the people jump over to the Hangout, which you're welcome to join, of course, by the way.
Okay.
We're gonna cut this because my computer fan, having run JVC for probably over an hour now, it's getting a little bit warm, and the fan has been turning all this time. And I don't want to brick this little MacBook Air 11-inch that's running Jitsi Video Bridge. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
It was our pleasure. Thanks to you. Thanks to Emil for thinking of this. And by the way, you came on very short notice. I thought it was a very interesting demo, and I definitely want to get together with you on the music. So we'll do that by email.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Take care, Chris. And I'm going to move over to. I'll email you the Hangout in case you have the time to join it. We're going to move over to the. There's Tim. Tim, you have the URL, I think. I believe I posted it in. Okay. And the London contingent. Okay. So, gentlemen, if you'll move over there, and we'll count on Michael to stay here and chat about random things while you're doing that. Okay.
Oh.
Andy's already in the Hangout, so he can maybe adjust his setup or whatever.
By the way, thanks, Michael, for the heard.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. As usual, a very high standard.
Brilliant.
Magical things going on. I've got no idea what goes on in Texas, but it always seems to work. It's brilliant. But anyway, we'll see you, Randy, in about a minute on Hangout.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Chris. It was terrific.
Thanks.
Oh, perfect. Now we got the slide. I'm going to remove the in just a second here. Let's see. I have to click here, get rid of that, turn on. I'm going to turn on the film strip. If I can figure out how to do that. No. Hide their audio and video. No. New guests broadcast. Yes. Okay. There we go. So we're set with, who is this? Tim is with us, but I don't see any audio. That's because there is no audio. He's muted. Okay, see if Tim or Andy were able to say something now so we can see if that's working. Because we're still broadcasting. Ah! Bird is the word.
Yeah, I got my Periscope thing going.
Oh, I thought that was coming from Tim. That's funny.
That was me. Do you have a link for the Hangout?
Yeah, let me see. There is actually a share here, isn't there? Oh, wait, I can't do it here. I'll have to email it to you real quick, Chris.
Okay.
It was my intention, but I'm stuck in...
The thing that gets me about Periscope is there doesn't seem to be that much in my life that I want to show people in the form of video.
Yeah, somebody was saying that the pleasure for most people, maybe not you, and maybe not me, is actually for the person who's sharing. And that there's really, if you think about it, there's not necessarily that much going on that you'd want to share.
The one thing that I do find engaging is like if, I've seen like more like professional people that are broadcasting think that they're, wow.
Oh, that's the hangout invite. Hey, it so rarely works. I was just about to email you. Yeah, jump over there. All right, is that it then? Michael, are you in the hangout, or would you like to please switch? If you're ready.
Not yet, but I'll get over there momentarily.
Look at this clear. Listen, folks. Look at behind Michael's head. Look at that print. If it looks anything like mine, I mean, if it looks anything as good as it looks here, it's perfectly clear. It's such a great test.
2.1 megabits in each direction.
Okay.
720p.
And by the way, I should be able to share. Where's my network stuff? Is that it? No, that's CPU. I'm looking for the network while we're waiting. Well, for some reason I don't have it. Okay, we're on the Hangout. We'll do about 20 more minutes. By the way, oh, and Alan is here. Alan, unmute so we can see if we're get things working.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Ooh, it's because I've got the volume here. I can click that. It's good to see you, Alan. Let me make a few adjustments because
no problem.
I've got 15 different machines feeding 25 different channels. I wish I could show this setup from the back, but my camera isn't connected in that way because of the way it is. But it just, I'm even impressed. I have so many cameras, 1, 2, 3 webcams, 1, 2, 4, 3 computers, different ones. I called into ZipDX on my phone to see if that audio was working, and it was.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris is with us, James is with us, Andy's with us. We're missing Michael, but he knows. I think he knows how to find us. So, okay, Alan, we're here for Tad Hack Update. What else?
Cool.
George Clooney would say.
Well, it's surprising. I mean, you've got Andy there, James there, Carsten there, Tim. Well, he's here in the same room as I am. So, and we're all within sort of, we wave at each other. There you go. The miracle of telecommunications. We can all appear as if we're on the other side of the planet and actually we're physically in the same room. So, hey, the great thing is the Wi-Fi is still holding up. That's the most important thing. So we're all set up here for Tad Hack Mini in London. We've got well over 100 people in terms of both registrations, but we've got a lot of people just popping in to say hello through the weekend as well. So really looking forward to it. We've got everything set up. Phew, That is an undertaking, but all the tables are there. We've got the power leads, all those basic practical things that you think, well, it just happens. And it's like the number of times you say, okay, so we need X number of tables for the sponsors, Y number of chairs, and also we need power for all the tables so that the developers can keep the the power running for their laptops. And you turn up and there's no power. And then there's no gaffer tape for the distribution boards. But we're done. We're good. So we're really looking forward to it. We've already got 2 hacks that have been sent in remotely. We've got another 4 or 5 hacks that'll be coming in through tomorrow. So we're really looking forward to seeing what comes in through remote entries. And then just the discussion on Twitter has been great, with some of the ideas that have been shared and some of the bragging rights over who's going to win one of the drones. So really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. And I also mentioned yesterday that we've passed for the global event in June. I know we're obsessing about London, and this is just a mini event that we're doing because there's quite a few WebRTC people in London that, this week. But for the global event, we've got over 100 registrations, and I think it was the day before yesterday, we had something like 38 registrations in just one day. That's because Asia's opened up. So now we're starting to see a lot of registrations. But given those numbers, I think we're likely to achieve, by the time June comes, over 1,000 developers around the world.
It's going to be fantastic. It was great in Madrid. You had similar satellites set up, and that was very cool.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great fun. And Internet of Things is going to be a far stronger piece of it. It's something that actually Jose de Castro mentioned a few weeks back when I think it was actually at the start of your VoIPathon, maybe a week ago now, where he mentioned it's moving to sort of, it's not just software eating the world, it's software and hardware. So it's far more you're having real things to play with, not just showing a cute thing happening in a browser, but actually showing some things that are visceral there in front of you, being controlled remotely. So that I think is going to be a far stronger theme. And of course, Intel is one of the sponsors, new sponsors for TADHack, and they're actually going to be running 2 centers, locations, one in Istanbul and one in Israel. So really happy that they're coming on, not just as a sponsor, but also running a couple of locations there. So great plans. And also the TADHacks that are running in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh are going to have IoT as a theme. So looking forward to it. Oh, what have we got here?
Well, can I say a few words now?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, first of all, talking about ideas, it's worth giving Idea London a bit of a plug, isn't it? Because you said how wonderful it is coming in here and finding that everything works. And one of the reason that it's all working is because of the venue, which is Idea London. We probably need to put a shout out for Dr. Alistair Moore, who's responsible for this. Marvellous.
And the team behind him. I mean, Len Blake and Peter have been doing a sterling job in getting everything set up and running and meeting all the random requirements.
Absolutely, and for people like me and Andy and Tim, this is a wonderful playground. This is packed full of advanced networking bits of kit. You can see over Alan's shoulder, actually. I think are they Cisco webcams? I don't know.
Yes, I think they are.
But the whole place is filled with high-tech widgets. I'm actually in a soundproof TARDIS type arrangement here. Again, wall-to-wall video conferencing all around us, and we're going to have fun. But anyway, enough of that. I've got somebody else here that I want to introduce. This is Carsten Bock, who's come all the way from Hamburg to be with us, and he's brought something reasonably interesting there. Haven't you, Carsten?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Got to tell us about it.
Okay, what I brought with me is actually our own LTE network for the TADHack.
Excellent.
So we've got some Volta phones, and we've got some classic phones, and we've got
a whole load of.
James, can you move the microphone near to Carsten, or get him, or change places with him for a moment if he's talking, because he's a little bit far.
Who is?
Oh,
Carsten.
Okay. we have our own LTE network at this venue. We've got LTE phones. We've got basically everything we need to make real voice over LTE happening here at the TATAC in London, which is absolutely fascinating, great, and fun, I hope.
Yeah, well, that's just one of many demonstrations. I just wonder, is Tim there? Tim, if you're still there, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the stuff that you've seen?
Tim, you're getting called in. James wants you to give it.
No, I thought Tim was on the channel.
No, he's not on the channel.
Tim, no, I don't know what happened to Tim.
No, he's over there. I can see it.
Oh, I thought. Oh, he took the tube over. I guess.
Over there.
I'll take the risk.
There he is.
Hello.
Change places. Okay.
What up?
Get him in close. Get him in close to the microphone, though, because that microphone is just.
Preview a number of apps and hacks that are going on. What do you know about that's going to turn up here tomorrow morning?
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the excitement of it. I'm hoping not too many phone calls with manual dial, although that would be amusing. But I really like the Comcast thing of being, of throwing screens here and there, and as Alan was saying about, the idea of physically controlling a thing. I think.
Well, there will be the odd drone or two turning up with Matthew from Matrix.org, I think.
Well, yes, exactly, and I hear from a couple of my friends that other physical devices may be involved, so I think that'll be good. But I'm hopeful about that.
Knowing you, the sort of thing that you would like to do, Tim, is to take your old BPO 250 dial telephone and interface that using VoLTE.
No, really not. Ideally something else. Although, it would be fun to have some interactions with the phone system just for for entertainment. But I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to apps that I'm really looking forward to things that can't be done with a traditional phone. I don't think there's I think we've replicating telephone functionality is kind of been done, and to an extent the people who are going to succeed with that are the big players. So unless you're actually BT or Comcast, then really there's not much point in trying to do that. I think there's much more value in taking a niche of insurance salesmen or hotel receptionists or somebody who has a job that needs a task.
Or even parrots.
Indeed, parrots, dogs, whatever. But somebody who's got something they want done and that WebRTC can help them achieve that goal. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, indeed.
I care. But anyone I'm mentoring, so anyone who's got ideas, I will help them execute them. And whether I like them or not, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I have a question for everybody. And first, I'm going to switch this over. Sorry. Let's see if we can do it. And here it is. Switching is really something.
There we go.
And we have the wrong thing. Anyway, the question is, we've had click-to-call for probably, 7, 8 years, ever since PBXs and things like that made that possible with links. Well, now with WebRTC, probably for the last year or two, there's been a lot of... Who doesn't have a widget out there that'll do that? My question, though, is anybody actually clicking these things? Is this actually accomplishing what it's trying to? Or is it a human thing where, do I really want to get a phone call from a commercial salesperson, or do I just want to go through, fill out the form? Who would like to comment on that? I'm looking at you, Tim.
I'd love to, yes. So I have two remarks on that. The first one is the wisdom of youth, which is my daughter was discussing how dreadful phone calls are, how little she likes being on the phone, that there are better media. So, we've got a lot of improvement to do to make the phone system catch up with what she expects. And the other things I actually built, as you may know, James, I built a click-to-call system. And
it's calling you right now.
I wish. It worked very well. It worked brilliantly, but absolutely nobody wanted to use it. I actually had an embarrassing discussion with the web developer who said, brutally, I have better uses for those pixels on the home page than your button. At which point we took the thing off because we simply weren't seeing the numbers of users that were necessary to make it worth doing. Now that may be in the use case, it may be in the environment, it may have been other things, too early, whatever. But I don't think there are like hundreds of millions of people gagging to press that button. That's my experience anyway. James, I'm sure you disagree with all of that.
No, I don't actually. Am I unmuted?
You're good. You're good, James. In fact, you sound better than you did before.
Oh, thank you. No, actually, I agree with everything that Tim said. There's a lot of money, I think, going forwards in providing services which actually manage who can talk to other people when they want to be talked to. It's a complex thing to do. I mean, we've reached a stage now where communications are so widespread, and you can communicate just about anywhere on the planet. But you know what? Most of the time, you don't want to be communicating. In fact, Andy's very good at catching me at just the wrong moment. I'm just about to do something that I want to do when I'm not taking a phone call, and Andy manages to get me in the wrong time every time. So, in fact, something I get all the time is I get the comment, "I've got 20 phone numbers for you, James, and I've tried them all. I can never get through to you." And the reason for that is it may be because I don't want to talk to you right at this moment in time. So, yeah, there's money to be made there, managing calls and things like that. That was a bit of a rant, wasn't it?
I guess we can ask Michael the same question. What does he think about click-to-call? Have you ever used a Has anybody ever used a click-to-call? You guys are kind of
sorry, the follow-up to that
Yeah.
is the problem with click-to-call things is they tend to be a bit clunky to use. So one thing that we can improve on is making all of these applications just flipping work. It's the Apple thing. They spend loads and loads and loads of time just getting the user interface right, so it's intuitive and it just works every time. Well, in the case of Apple, most of the time. And there's a lot that can be done for that. I mean, the early click-to-call stuff that we played with, what, thinking now, 6-7 years ago, Tim, it worked, but it wasn't particularly user-friendly. So we need to get better at that as well. It's user interface stuff. And cast and nods saves it.
Click-to-call has zero interest. Click-to-call has zero interest. I just, this. I think we've said it before. I think Tim has said it. Contextualizing communication, so it just happens transparently where it's needed. That's the critical bit. If you have to click, then maybe the call is pointless anyway.
Yeah, the sort of thing I want to do is, I know that a certain gentleman is flying from New York to London. I want to catch him at Heathrow Airport as soon as he turns his phone on. So the sort of thing I want to do is set a trigger that tells me as soon as he turns his phone on and just calls him. So I get
a push notification that he's on the network again.
Now, actually, there's a way to do that on many.
Well, strangely enough, there is.
Which is that you send them an SMS with a receipt request. And when they land and they switch their phone back on, the receipt request gets acknowledged, and you can see that they've arrived.
If you're a mobile operator, you don't even need to send them the SMS. You just set up the signature. But anyway, you tried to spoil my little story there, Tim. Love you, Tim. Right, with that, you can tell we're going to have fun here. And I'm just looking at Alan now. I'm guessing it's not too late for late entries to still register and just come along, or just come along anyway. And that the big fun here is meeting new people and experiencing technologies that you've never experienced before, and then working together with these interesting new people to build new stuff. And for me, I mean, this is really exciting stuff. I meet so many interesting people and new things to play with.
Let's face it, you would actually meet the legendary James Bodie.
Oh.
Among many others.
Among many others.
Many others. So,
many others.
Alan, are you able to
differentiate this from every other event that's out there? Is you're meeting senior developers. These are developers with lots of gray hair, with lots of experience across a whole range of relevant real-time communication platforms, and WebRTC is part of that spectrum. I think what you get is, especially if you're a young developer or you're a developer that's trying to understand this ridiculously complex space of real-time communications because it's part of HTML5, this is the best place to come. In the 2 days that we're here, they can get more learning, more experience, more advice than they can get through any number of online learning or any of those marketing-related events.
Okay, and on the subject of WebRTC, my opinion on that is, on its own, it's just a technology, it's just a building block, and it's really not hugely useful until you start bolting it into other systems. And that's what this event is all about. It's how you take all of those building blocks and you bolt them all together and make something really exciting and useful out of the bits.
Yep, absolutely. That I think is critically important. And of course, developers who attend TADHack over the weekend, I've got free tickets to the Global Summit on Tuesday and Wednesday. So by coming in and taking part, you can get free entry to a far more expensive event.
Far more expensive. Extremely well-regarded speakers. Like Funny that, isn't it?
I'm just a compare for the event.
Yeah, it's all going to be good.
Oh, it'll be fun. Absolutely. Good. I think, again, it's a great diversity we've got attending. It's not just the VoIP crowd, and it's not just sort of the WebRTC geeks. It's a real diversity.
And we've got prizes as well.
Yes.
Say a few words about the prizes, Alan.
Well, we've got $8,000 to distribute, and that includes 2 Parrot Bebop drones, and unfortunately, we will not be able to. We're not allowed where the main hacking area to actually use the drones in here, because if we touch any of the very expensive light fixtures, that's quite expensive. So they'll be used upstairs. But again, that's the great thing with Ideal London. It's a really big space in the centre of London. Great facilities for small meetings where James is, for big events where Tim and I are here, and then upstairs. That's where we're going to have all the meals and drinks and everything. Just a great fun area for meeting up and, of course, playing around with drones.
Yeah, and all within, 300 metres of the Old Street Roundabout. So this is in the heart of Tech London.
Yeah, it's a great location. Can't be beat.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I think we've given that a good plug, haven't we, Alan?
And with that, yeah, that's fantastic. I think it may be time to think about any new segment. Look at this. This is a 60-minute segment. It's absolutely perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, that was 60 minutes. Let me see if I can find some music. We have that the rollout.
Well, Andy can sing.
That's true, but then we'd have a problem getting pulled on YouTube. In just a second, I'll be ready for that. Wow, I just can't believe I need to pat myself on the back since nobody else is. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Let's go with, I think this might work. Thank you very much, everybody. See, these are dangerous demos, too. You don't realize I do a dangerous demo every week. Every single week. Here we go. If you guys, if those of you in the Hangout would be kind enough to mute, we're going to launch D-Spacey driving outro. It's the bleeding edge of the IP communications and VoIP community. We're at vuc.me on the web. Thanks to simwood.com, who can turn you as a developer into a telco. Our hosted PBX is provided by onsip.com. The site at vuc.me is on bluehost.com. We use zipdx.com for our wideband, full-featured conference bridge. And our local rate dial-ins are from voxbone.com. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. See you next week. Don't forget, keep watching the skies.